Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Amy and I am here with a vintage haul, so stay tuned. Everyone, how's it going? It feels like it's been forever since I've talked to you guys. I did just publish a video right before I started this, so but that was the last of the videos that I had recorded last weekend, and so we're back, and this is a Saturday in my world, and wow, lots of stuff's happened over the week, so I guess we'll talk about that while we look through stuff. So I think in one of the last videos that aired, I talked about having found the biggest antique store in Missouri, and that was sort of true, we learned. So Monday, we went to a new antique store because I had taken the day off, and it is in the same family of antique stores as that one, and it actually was bigger. And because it was just Jason and I, we actually were able to make it all the way through the store. Let me put my phone on mute. And yeah, so I've got a few of the things from that trip to show you today, and just a few other odds and ends. And I guess let's get started. So in this particular antique store, I kind of hit the mother lode of vintage card games. Now, not vintage playing cards like I sell in my shop as swap cards, you know, that you can play rummy and canasta and bridge with. Not those kind of cards, but the kind of cards that like authors and crazy eights and, you know, just those kind of things, because I have been, okay, so my dad, I believe, owns a set of those mini cards because we had them when I was growing up, authors and crazy eights and hearts and those kind of things. And I'm hoping that he's got them in, because it's been a while since I've looked at them, but I'm hoping they're in the boxes that look like books that you would, you know, so that you could have them look like a little mini bookshelf or book set or whatever. But I can't remember if they are like that. And those are ultimately the ones that I really want. But I did find several that kind of satisfied some yearnings that I had, gave me a good dopamine high. So let's see what we can show you. So this is one that is in the style that I want. So Animal Rummy looks like this. So it's a miniature card set. So I haven't talked to you since we took Gabby to college. So that went okay. I didn't outright cry. When we got to the dorm, her roommate was saying goodbye to her mom, and I don't know if there were some siblings there maybe, but they were full out crying, and both of them, and it was a little awkward because we got there kind of as they were leaving, and we should have just waited in the hall, but we don't have any social skills in my family, and so we went in because I don't know, we weren't correctly reading the room. You know how they always say, read the room? Well, we weren't doing that very well. So anyway, they finished saying their goodbyes, and then they decided to leave the room to give us some space because she had gotten there earlier, so her bed was made and all of her stuff was unpacked and put away. So they left the room kind of to let us do that. And so while we were doing that, I mean, there's 6 of us because we all went, and so there wasn't really space for all of us to be doing something. So I went out and checked out the bathroom that was across the hall, and while I was in there, I started to get teary. I wasn't like crying, but I could have if I wanted to. And I was like, no, Amy, hold it together. And because Gabby's not an emotional person. So I was trying to match her. I'm sure I'm going to have some kids someday that go to college that will cry, and then I'll probably cry too, kind of thing. But overall, we got her, she had a really nice room. And well, compared to the room I had, like it was carpeted and the bed was on lifts. So there was, her dresser was underneath the bed, and it looked like they did a really good match with roommates, because even though they had been able to talk to each other over the summer to start to get to know each other, they hadn't talked about like what color bedspread are you going to bring, or comforter are you going to bring, or anything like that. And so they had both picked out blue and gray, and Gabby has a weighted stuffed animal. And I don't know if the roommates was weighted too, but they were both like the same animal, but not the, it wasn't the exact same, but it was the same animal, and they were both blue and gray, but it was weird. It was weird. It was like they planned it and they hadn't. So I am hoping that is a good sign for them. Oh, because if they like the same colors, they're going to get along really well. And I don't know if that's true, but they are in the same program at the school. And so this first week was activities designed to start getting them back into school mode, because they had to design a car together. And well, they were put in different groups, but the groups they were put in were based on what they were going to be studying in school. So Gabby and her roommate were in the same group, which was also nice, because then they could walk around together. And their dorm is the farthest dorm away from campus. And Gabby has a car, and I guess her roommate has a car. And so they were also getting to learn how to get around town, how to get around campus. There's a lot of roundabouts, which I hate roundabouts, but in some respects it makes some things easier. But so a lot of these activities during the week were at different parts of campus, so they'd get to get familiarized. So it's a good plan. And I talked to her on Tuesday night, and she said things were going well with the roommate and going well with the activities, because I think she didn't really know if she wanted to participate in the activities, but the school had encouraged the parents to encourage the students to participate in the activities, because they were voluntary, but she did participate in all those and stuff. The only thing I haven't asked her yet is how's the food, because I don't know if the food, I don't know if she had to start utilizing her food plan already, or if all the food for that first week was kind of provided. There is a building on campus that has has like a food court in it, but otherwise I think all of the dorms have their own cafeterias. And she got whatever the smallest meal plan was, and I think it was like a credit system. So she bought so many credits for the semester, and I don't know how many credits you need for a meal, for example, but she figured it would give her the most flexibility, considering she still wants to get a job. So yeah, so we'll see. So she's not the kind of kid that, when she lived here, she would come in and talk to us every night before bed, because after she'd get home from work or whatever. But we decided that we would try not to reach out to her and let her come to us, so we're not like the overbearing parents. So yeah, so that's how that's going so far. So far, it doesn't really feel like she's gone yet, just because it's only been a week, and we've been busy enough that it's not been quite as noticeable as maybe it would be. But yeah, so that's how that's going, and classes for her start on Monday, I believe. So All right, so anyway, on the way home from taking her, we stopped at a antique store in Rolla, and there was a case. I don't normally look in the cases because I don't like to have to get somebody to open them, but there was a case that had a whole shelf full of these cards, and I bought a lot of them. So the Animal Rummy, these games were Whitman games, and there is a, Whitman did come out with a replica. You could say that I've bought a couple of the replica packs that have 4 different of the games in them, but these are the originals. And I think all of these also come in full-size cards. Oh, and this is what the back looks like. Full-size cards, I think, because some of them I do have, but like Old Maid was another one. I don't know who created Old Maid first, because I found so many different versions of Old Maid. But yeah, so anyway, so here's an Old Maid. And of course, usually when you find these, the Old Maid is like in the worst shape. This, I'm trying to think, this might be the one that got replicated in the updated version, or the new, well, the replicated version. And it even still has the instructions or whatever, but I think I've showed you guys, I grew up with the jumbo Old Maid deck. That's the one that gets me in the heart the most. Then I found several EduCard games. So I've talked about those before. Let's see if I can find, oh, there was an Old Maid EduCard. Maybe this might be the last one. So I've shown you guys some EduCards before, like the Man from U.N.C.L.E. EduCards, and maybe an alphabet one, but these are kind of more specific. So we've got baseball, and I don't know how you play them. Well, that doesn't help that I got out too, and most of them look like this on the back, but they're just great kind of vintagey card games that I'm gonna want to use in my junk journals. And now that Gabby's gone, so when I'm filming, I haven't filmed downstairs in a long time, but when I film down there, there's a curtain behind me, and on the other side of that curtain is like Jason's space, which is a little bit narrower than my office space. And he's not been able to, it's been chock full of stuff for a while. So in the next, like, he already started this week and he'll finish up this next week. He is taking all of his stuff kind of out of that space, put it in Gabby's room, and is going through it to see what he wants to keep, store, or sell. And then once he's done with that, I'm gonna start using Gabby's desk to film, because I just can't keep my work desk clean for filming. And yeah, it's terrible. So I'm going to move my overhead camera from my work desk to Gabby's desk, and then I'll be able to film some of the crafty kind of videos that I want to film. So that's coming. So we've got the Jungle Book. I don't remember what these look like. I cracked a fingernail right before I started this video, so it's finally going to be time to cut all these nails off and repolish them. Okay, well, I don't know. And the back of these look like this. I don't know if these are like Go Fish, where you just have to find pairs. Let's just skip Old Maid since we looked at one of those. And then the Busy Bee. this one was more like dominoes, I think, where you have to match up, play your cards so that they match, you know. So that was fun to find those. I always love when I can find something in a store that I've seen on eBay but didn't buy on eBay, because unfortunately with eBay there's shipping costs. And so I like to, like, here's another old, I think this one I might have gotten 2 of, because 2 different booths had it, but this one was cut off a little bit. But maybe you remember these Old Maid. Oh, this one might be, this Royal Ringmaster seems familiar, so this might be the one that got updated. I don't know, doesn't it just make you think of childhood when you see these? I think it's so great. Crazy Eights. Crazy Eights is one that I really, hopefully, let me look and see. Yeah, these are ones I love. I love these so much. Well, here I went to turn it over so they wouldn't be upside down. Okay, there's some that aren't. But I think hearts, I might have found maybe 1 deck of hearts. But yeah, these are great for crafting, and there's tons of Pinterest sites that can show you how to upcycle some of these cards. Here's a newer Crazy Eights. Oh, here's the hearts. Let's look at this for the nostalgia feels. All these old ones, and I think these are the ones that got replicated, have this kind of diamond pattern with Whitman in the center. And so I'm going to take a couple of these shamrock ones and put it in Gabby's graduation journal, which that's probably what I'm going to, one of the things I guess I'm going to start doing videos of is making her graduation journal, because I told her I didn't have it ready for her when she graduated, surprise, surprise, and I didn't want to work on it over the summer while she was here because I don't want her to see it, and she doesn't watch this channel, so we don't have to worry about her watching me make it on here. But then I thought we could make it together, kind of thing. So she's a St. Patrick's Day birthday, which is why I would take the shamrock ones out of that. I also found a crossword game, and I have seen other people selling these cards, and I was like, I don't understand. I thought they were probe cards that they were selling, but they had extra things on them, so I didn't know if it was an older version of probe or what. But no, it was these crossword cards. And from what I can tell, there are maybe 2 of each letter. I'm not really sure, because now that I say that, I think it was a different game I was trying to count the letters for. But that's always fun. I like my probe cards just because, you know, so you can spell things or do somebody's initials or something like that. I don't think I want to show all of these cards. Well, this was from Half Price Books. I guess I was starting to kind of combine all of these extra cards, or these non-bridge type cards, into one bag. Oh, this is still sealed, so I won't open that. And then I found some Andy Griffith Show trading cards, which I thought would be fun. I don't know, did these, oh, these are from 1991, so kind of interesting that someone decided then that they would, I don't know, maybe there was a big boom in collector cards at that point in time. It looks like they've got kind of trivia maybe on this side, or just information about the show, and then they've got pictures from the show. Floyd, I wonder if that's after he had his stroke and they just always had him sitting somewhere. Because in the very beginning of that series, if you watch it, Floyd is pretty animated and, you know, pretty mobile and stuff. But then you get to a point where he's not really moving and stuff. And I read that he had had a stroke, but they still had him on. So just, that's a cute one. Okay, so let's see if maybe, okay, so I'll read you what this card says. So, you know, they're drawing their gun or whatever, or Opie drew his gun. So it says, Barney teaches Opie a lot about how to draw his gun. Aunt Bee doesn't always think that's the best influence for a young'un, but generally she doesn't mind. On the other hand, Barney is not quite as expert with his slingshot instructions. In that field, he makes Goliath errors. So, you guys know, Barney, you know, he only had the one bullet and it was in his pocket. And invariably, when he would put his bullet in his gun, he'd shoot the floor, you know, or through his pocket or whatever. I was always almost killing somebody kind of thing. Poor Barney. That show was not the same after Barney left the series, or after Don Knotts left the series. All right, so that's some Mickey Mouse cards, some Taz cards that I got for Jason because he used to love Taz when he was a kid. Snap, that was another one of the, probably the original Whitman cards. Different versions of Animal Rummy, Go Fish, another Old Maid. Another Old Maid. Now this one, okay, this one is looks super old, doesn't it? So let's look at this one for a minute. It says it's missing 2 cards. There's the Old Maid. I don't know, I can't tell. Do we know who made this one? It says, with characters from famous nursery rhymes and fairy tales. But I think, well, I think it might say who it's from down here, but it's all kind of missing. And then this box is in, you know, bad shape. But let's look real quick and see. These cards are in. So yeah, I think these are cool, right? So yeah, those may end up in my shop in some way, shape, or form because it's not complete. So I may sell off the cards. Oh, I don't want to put that on there and ruin it. So let's just put this back in here. So there were those, and then I found the big size authors. Authors is probably my favorite of all of them. And I did look at this already, and it is the same cards as the miniatures. And over in Europe, they have games called Quartet, which is the same thing as authors. So you have an author, you've got one title up here, you've got the other 3 titles down here, and you're trying to collect all 4 of the same author. So I may keep these and add them to my collection, my personal collection, just because I don't have, like, I grew up with the miniature one, so this is the only full-size one I've ever seen. So I may keep these, just because. But they are, I mean, the box is not in bad shape. Now, ideally, once I sell off the cards or use the cards, then I can use the box that it came in, because, you know, there's some great, it'd make a great journal card. And I noticed on Hyper Stamper that a lot of the bridge cards that I've gotten are Congress cards, and they come in kind of a felty gilded edge box, and she uses pieces from that in her journals. And I was like, well, I could do that. You know, I've just got them, all the empty boxes sitting in a box, so let's be smart about this, Amy. And then, you guys, the pièce de résistance. Ta-da! So I think this is the original set, but it's not the ones in the book that look like a book for a bookcase. But you can see it's a little bit damaged, but otherwise, and the cards have been played with, but it's like the whole set. So yay. So I told myself that I wanted to have one of each for my collection, my personal collection, and then I could use the others. So yeah, so I will definitely be doing that. All right, let's see what else we got that's not cards. Got some vintage lace. I don't know. See the way that's sewn, like here's an edge, so maybe it was a trim, but, and it's only 30 inches, but I thought that would be good on the sides of papers, or maybe to outline a cover, I don't know. And then Jason found these. These are designer Kleenex. So I'm going to be at some point having a napkin set in my shop, and so I've got some of these in a floral pattern, but I've only got the one design. So now I've got a couple more designs I can add to it. And then I found some famous people flashcards, and it's volume 2. Oh, it's by EduCard. I was looking for a year. Let's see if there's a year on this. It looks like it's got everything. 1960. There were 3 volumes in this set. Volume 1 was Wonders of the World. Volume 3 was Important Events. And then we had Volume 2 that I have as Famous People. So that might be something to keep my eyes open for when I'm going to other places. I'm never smiling in these videos, so when I go to get my thumbnails, I'm never smiling. I've got a weird look on my face, and the last several videos I tried to, you know, do something in Canva, you know, to see if that would help increase the views, and it didn't. So I might as well spend my time doing stuff that I enjoy more. But let's do since this may be my favorite thing in this video. So there's a glare. Can I take this off and it still them not fall out? All right. I have to like stay paused for a little bit, because when I'm going through the video later and trying to freeze, it's very hard to get it frozen in that period of time. Okay, I gotta put the instructions for these famous people ones back. And then let me show you some stamps I got, or punches I got from Amazon. So there's lots of crafters that'll take punches like this and use with their paper scraps, and then they'll make little clusters. So I got this one, and I had I had punched some out, but I don't see them, so I'm not sure where those ended up. But this is a 2-inch one, and then I got the 1-inch one to kind of go in the center of that. And then they look like this, so it would catch. But I find that there's not very many that can go in here before you have to pull this down and release it. But anyway, I got these on Amazon, and then I also picked up a shamrock, since Gabby's a St. Patrick's Day baby, and I want to be able to make shamrocks. Okay. Hi, let me take a brief moment out of our video to let you know that today's video is sponsored by Junk for Goats. Junk for Goats is my business where I sell and resell vintage, antique, and some modern ephemera for all of your junk journaling or crafting needs. I have shops on Etsy, Whatnot, and I list my digital items on my coffee shop. All of the links for those are below in the description, so please check that out. It's also important to note that 10% of all the proceeds from my sales are used to purchase goats from Compassion International. Those goats are provided to families across the world to help them meet their own families' needs in terms of their diet, but they can also take and sell the milk and the cheese that they produce from their goats to their friends and family nearby, helping to provide them with an income source that is valuable in the areas in which they live. So if you would like to craft with a difference, please check out the description below. And as always, thank you, and please enjoy the rest of the video. Thanks. All right, so then I've also been working on, so if you're a member of this channel, you get, I have 3 membership levels on this channel, and if you're in one of the top 2, with that you get digitals each month. So I've been trying to kind of streamline's not the right word, but I've been trying to plan that out better. So I took this paper and I was like, okay, if I fold it like this, I can get 4 postcards out of a piece of paper. What size do I want stamps to be? So there's tons of different folds in here, and what I'm going to be, because I'm trying to sort of make it cookie cutter so that when I do each month's designs, I know how many background pages I need, how many stamps I need, how many postcards, how many bookmarks, how many tags, that kind of thing. And so I was practicing, or kind of figuring this out with my honey garden collection. And so Sequoia, one of my viewers on here, had said, you know, you might consider selling some of your digitals in print form in your Etsy shop, which, duh, I don't know why I wasn't thinking of that, because not everybody has a printer and can print out digitals. So far I have printed out the honey garden collection, so I thought I would show it to you guys here. It's not yet listed for sale in my shop, but it's coming soon, maybe as early as next weekend. But it's got 3 background pages, and then we've got a couple of journaling pages. So you could fold this in half or cut it, you know, whatever your style is. So we had 1 with lines and 1 without. Oh, it looks like this one was upside down. And then I have a page where it's like you would cut it here, and then you'd have half page that you could fold in half. So, and I've got it too to where if you folded it in half without cutting it, it would be the right direction on both sides in case you just wanted something like that, I guess. And then 4 bookmarks, 8 tags, 4 postcards. This has got to be my favorite postcard. So I've made up if you order something from my shop, I stick in a freebie, and I made up like 10 freebie packs so that they were just ready for when new orders come in. And if you're a viewer that's ordered from my shop, thank you so much for supporting my efforts in that way. I've had at least one order every week, which has been nice. But I think this postcard is in that freebie pack. But I just really like the colors of this. I like how they turned out. And we've got some tickets. So this is I kind of redid the stamp page. If you were looking today on my Ko-Fi page, this kit looks a little bit different on the Ko-Fi page than it does here printed out, and it will eventually be changed on the Ko-Fi site too. So if for some reason you see something on the Ko-Fi site or coffee site or in this Honey Garden collection that you really like, you might consider getting it because it may disappear. And the stamp page is one of those, because I ended up making it so that I have stamps on one side. I wanted to add tickets into my kits, so I put those on here. And then these, if you fold them in half, are tabs. So I just wanted to have a little bit more variety in my print kit. And then the freebie on coffee, I always have a freebie page. The 11th page is a freebie page. And right now I think on coffee it is bookmarks maybe for this kit, but it will be changing to this fussy cut. I'm gonna just start doing a fussy cut page as the freebie, but it would be in this print form too. So that's my Honey Garden. So that's something I've been working on this week, that is, you know, not just buying stuff, but creating stuff. And so I will be revamping my watermelon picnic kit. Watermelon picnic was the freebie, or was the digital kit for August. Honey Garden was the digital kit for July. And this was the first kit that I started using. I paid for Artistly, which is like a good program for those of us that are not digital artists, but it makes it easy to create digitals. I'd been using Leonardo AI, but that one was way more expensive. And with Artistly, you could buy it once and have unlimited access, unlimited everything. So I switched. So Honey Garden was the first kit that I made using that software. And for September coming up, we're doing library days. And for October, we're doing moonlit remedies. So it's been really fun to be creative in that way. But I also need to be creative with these physical products too, right? That's the whole point. I spent $10,000 so that I could really go into business for myself, so to speak. So I need to get off the pot. How does that saying go? Get off the pot and do something? I don't know. I totally butchered that. All right, so I'm not very good with buying textiles or not haberdashery. Well, kind of, except that's more the male side of things. But anyway, I don't buy a lot of that, but when I find these kind of stiff doilies, or I don't even know if they would have a different name based on the fact that they're kind of stiff, but these, okay, if you're a seamstress, close your ears. These are really simple to kind of separate, and so you can take this and cut it up, is really, which nobody else had bought this to use it in its correct form. It's huge. It's a table runner. So yeah, you could even, you know, cut a pretty big piece of this and glue it onto the cover of a journal with a really cool pattern on the back or something. That would be really pretty. So I picked that up for that purpose. Let's fold it back up. We're not animals here. And then I found in the same kind of bucket where this was, several of these. So, okay, well there were several. So I don't know if these were placemats. But again, these would be even easier to separate and cut out and have a cute, this would be great on a journal page. Or obviously you could even use more of it. Or you could have 3 for a belly band kind of thing. But so I got that, and then I found this one in the same one that is similar but not exactly the same. So yeah, they're really pretty. Somebody spent a lot of hard work on it, and I'm saving it from just a life of being stuck in an antique store, I guess. Gonna give it some love, some new life. And that's the way I look at, you know, tearing up books too, because some people are horrified by that as well. And I'm giving it new life so other people can enjoy it that may have never been interested in enjoying it. Then we got so I got this kind of because it was Captain Kangaroo. I watched Captain Kangaroo when I was little, but I don't have a lot of memories from it because I was little enough that memories weren't quite sticking around. But it's really not a very interesting game in its own right, but when I opened it up, I mean, it does have this that could easily be used in a journal as paper, right? And this is from probably the 70s, wouldn't you figure? Oh no, 87. Oh wow. So anyway, but when we opened it up, it had other card games in it. So it had Crazy Eights, which in a different version of what I already had. And it had, I was pretty sure it had some Old Maid in it. Yeah, some Old Maid. But the cards from the game itself are just kind of like this. But they are a little bit thicker of a cardstock. I don't know that they're very interesting cards because I think it was kind of a matching game. And then there was some war cards. Now these, you guys, these cards are not old at all. Well, I take it back. These cards are older than the numbers game. These cards are from 1985. So, okay, well, they're vintage. So I guess that I must have noticed that at the time. But yeah, it looks like this was $15. I don't know if it was worth that or not, but all right. And then the rest of this bag is books, because you know me, I love my books. I found 2 more My Book House books, which are like a compendium of children's stories that have been kind of shortened, abbreviated, abridged. I don't know what the right word is, but Reader's Digest style. And these are the ones that have those pictures that a majority of them are shades of orange and green. But there are also a lot of black and white pictures. I have still never found, so these are from the 50s. I've still never found one that's from the 20s. I'm looking to find one from the 20s. But I think they're the same books, just, I don't know if the 20s were when, like, first edition And if I found one, I wouldn't be able to tear it up. But, you know, finding these ones from the 50s are just as fine. But in the beginning of the book, it's got a list of all the books that are in it. And let me just check on this, the age of this one, because this one's got more color, which is maybe means it's not as old as I was saying. Okay, this one is 1960. I think the other ones I've had have been from 56. But here's one that's got the orange. And these, where the pictures at the top are the ones that make great double pockets on a journal page, because you can fold it kind of right underneath here and have this as your pocket, and then the back side of this creates like a second pocket. Yeah, so this one's definitely not got as many of the color pictures in it, but all right, so there's that one, and then this one, the treasure chest, looks like it's from the same time period based on this. Yep, 1960. So there was one in 58, so between the ones I have in 56. But I just really like the artwork in these. And for the ones that I guess are a little older than this, that have more of the, because this one's got a lot of the orange, but I'm not seeing the green. The ones that are the orange and green are super pretty, in my opinion. And then these were in a booth that was totally packed with books, and it was $3 a book. And if you bought 3, then you got a 4th one for free. And that even worked on ones that were kids' books that were grouped together. This counted as one book. So this is the first book of Firemen, the first book of Trains, first book of Surprising Facts, first book of Eskimos, and first book of Birds. I have not opened it yet, so let's take a look. We know we love birds and trains. Those are probably will be my favorite 2 out of this little pile. But yeah, I wasn't sure. They look like they might be from the 50s. But we'll see. This is what the inside, I don't know what the inside is called, but okay, these were stapled books, kind of like little golden books. So those are kind of harder to take apart. Okay, 1951, my first book of birds. Oh, those are great for fussy cutting. Aw. I like that. I think that turned out well, sight unseen. All right, well, let's do a quick. This one feels like it's a smaller book. Aw. Yeah, I wish this one had a little bit more color in it. Here's Trains. Let's see if these are all kind of from the 50s. This one's the 5th printing, 1956. Some great pages for a train journal. So I commented on one of Hyper Stamper's videos, because she does do themed journals on occasion. And I was like, oh, how many pieces do you feel like you need to collect before you can do a themed journal? And she said 40 different pieces. I was like, oh, that's a lot. but I'm growing quite a collection. This was the first book of surprising facts. But then, you know, if you're going to do themed journals, it's like, how do you store that stuff? Do you just get some plastic sleeves and or file folders and just start filling it? This one is the first book of Eskimos. I don't know if you're still allowed to call them Eskimos. Or if it's just, if now it's just indigenous people for every country, continent. All right, so those were not bad. And then The Real Mother Goose. This reminded me of a book I had as a kid that was tall. Is it a board book? Oh, this is a board book. Well, I didn't have a board book when I was a kid, but I thought maybe I could make covers out of these. Although these would not be able to go to, well, I guess they could if I sacrificed. So some of these I'd have to pick which stories or poems I wanted. I don't know. This may not be as, you know, now that I'm looking at it, it's a nice size, but I would definitely have to pick and choose which stories I would make, and they've got words, so that's not quite as great. All right, then I found a couple of Ding Dong School Library for Your Child books. I'd never seen these before, but you guys, this little girl looks just like the little girl in one of my favorite kids books, Jiggers. So I don't know. It is a Rand McNally. This is a Rand McNally. These are Rand McNally books. So maybe they had their own, Rand McNally maybe had their own set of illustrators. But, and if you got some of those Temu, Garland, it's not Garland, but they were like the retro or vintage style cardboard cards that you could string together. This is kind of that face that was on some of those, because they pulled, I think these are from the 50s. This says illustrations by Marge Opitz. So I don't know, I really need to like get more familiar with my illustrators. But this book is from, oh, this is from 33. Whoa. No. 53, sorry. So again, I just really like the illustrations, but honestly, I'm not sure I'll be able to tear this one apart. This is like unique. Like, I don't know if this was I think Little Golden books were already around by this point in time. So I don't know if this was just, oh, and it's got what the first 12 Ding Dong books were. This one is Crowning Things, and it does have some writing on it there. But just some great illustrations. I don't know, you guys, I can't keep everything, right? I need to stop saying I'm going to add this to my personal, I'm going to add this to my personal collection. No. This was a book that I used to read every time I went to my grandparents' house, this specific version of this book. So I am going to keep this in my personal collection. But I need to stop putting things in my personal collection. I need to buy the, you know, if I'm going to buy them, they need to be used and appreciated instead of just stored somewhere. So that brings back memories. And then Raggedy Ann. I'm always looking for Raggedy Ann. This one seemed like a little bit older than the ones I usually find. Let's see if we can find a year. Well, where's the year? It's got a book flap, so it can't be so old that it wouldn't have the publishing date in it. It doesn't have the publishing date in it. Come on. Is it in the back flap? No. Ooh, it does have a couple pieces of blank paper back here. I've got to start growing my vintage paper collection for when I want to use something that I don't need the words and I just want to add some paper for writing space. Yeah, there's no year on here. Oh, I hate that. Oh, it does have an ISBN though, so it can't be that old. So I guess maybe I can look it up that way later on. So does it have a pretty, yeah, it's just so. But anyway, it does feel older than most of the ones that I've been getting. Do we have any colored pages in here? A few. These were all illustrated by Johnny Gruel or Gruel, I don't know. But a lot of these I feel like have great pages for a journal or top. I'm always looking for the ones that have the picture on the top so I can make, and I did that with you guys on one of the videos, how I did that. Okay, the last thing is this old sewing book. It's still in fairly decent shape. Well, it's taped up here. But I love this cover. I love this. There were two of these books like right next to each other. The other one, I mean, this one does, it's not in perfect condition. The other one was maybe in a little bit better, but I didn't like the cover as much. And, or the insides. This feels very 70s or late 60s. Let's see if we can find a year. 72. And I have gotten a, so this is the Singer one. I have another one that's yellow, but I can't remember what brand that one is. But these books are pretty popular. And this one really looks a lot like the other one. So it almost makes me wonder if the other one I have bought out this one, because this has these sections and they're different colors, just like the other one. Or maybe that's just how they did everything in the 70s. But yeah, the very first one I got, which was the yellow one, I got at a Goodwill bins, and somebody had opened it, and so all the pieces were all over in a bin, and I think there was maybe one, there was something that I missed getting in that, and I don't know if it was never there or if I just didn't see it, because I literally went through the entire bin that these were in, and maybe the ones closest to it in case somebody had just tossed it. So it was incomplete, but I've since found a complete one of the yellow and now this. So these will definitely get used in journals, and they're the kind of thing that I feel like you probably ordered the binder and then over different months you'd get the inserts kind of situation. At least that's how it looks to me. But these will definitely end up probably in journals and in my shop in some way, shape, or form. So, all right, so that's it for the stuff that I was gonna haul, but I did bring my nostalgic TV trivia. So let's do one of those before we end it and I start filming another video, because I guess today is video filming day. All right, am I too far back here? Probably. Popeye's worst enemy was named Brutus for a while. What was his other name? How many people were shipwrecked on Gilligan's Island? Who starred in Tightrope? What nickname did Mr. Edwards give Laura on Little House on the Prairie? Name the show on which contestants could win rooms of furniture. What psychologist gained fame by answering boxing questions on the $64,000 question? Name Jack Benny's valet. Who was the first host for the Miss America pageants? Wow, okay. We're going to have to do some singing for answers on this. Okay, Popeye's worst enemy was named Brutus for a while. What was his other name? You guys, I used to watch Popeye. Oh, there went the nail. I used to watch Popeye and his girlfriend Olive Oil. But what was the antagonist's name? Pardon me while I cut this nail off. I don't know why I keep thinking Pluto, and that's not right. Can I pull it out of my hat? Put this in my trash can. Brutus. I don't know why I can't remember. I can't remember that. Pluto is the only thing coming, and you know how it is when you get something in your head like that. It's very hard to think of something else. So I can't think of anything else. How many people were shipwrecked on Gilligan's Island? Okay. The skipper and Gilligan, the millionaire and his wife, the movie star, Professor and Marianne, here on Gilligan's Isle. 7. Who starred in Tightrope? I have no idea. What nickname did Mr. Edwards give Laura on Little House on the Prairie? Now, for some reason, I was thinking that Pa gave her this nickname, but I'm going to say Half Pint. And because I can't think of any other nicknames that she had besides Half Pint. And I've watched every episode of Little House on the Prairie at least 5 times. If not, I mean, probably more. It was my absolute favorite show when I was growing up. And I since when I got married, Jason and I watched through the entire series, and I've watched through the entire series with Galia. So, yeah. So I'm going to say Half Pint. But maybe that was in the very first episode when they were in Kansas. And I don't know which book it would have been. I don't know. I read some of the books, and I've since bought the books to make journals out of, but I did not read all of the books. Name the show on which contestants could win rooms of furniture. Okay, you guys, it's probably The Price is Right. Because you could win rooms of furniture on The Price is Right in the showcase, right? You still can probably. Actually, I don't think I've ever watched a Price is Right with Drew Carey as the host. That was the kind of show that you would watch when you were a kid if you were homesick. And my grandfather loved The Price is Right. So whenever we'd visit him, he was always watching it. And I don't know, how many of you remember when Wheel of Fortune, maybe the early 80s, the prizes would be spinning on a thing, and you'd pick out and you'd spend your money on individual things, but that's not a whole room of furniture. So I'm going to say The Price is Right. And if there's an older show that also did that, like Let's Make a Deal or something, I don't know. So I'm going to just say The Price is Right. What psychologist gained fame by answering boxing questions on the $64,000 question? I have no idea. Like, once you get past Freud and Jung, and they were psychiatrists, different than psychologists. I can't think of any. I mean, like nowadays you could say Dr. Phil, but he wouldn't have been around back then since Oprah kind of made him famous. So I have no idea. And I could say Dr. Robert Hartley since we're watching through the Bob Newhart show now, but that wouldn't be it. Name Jack Benny's valet. I don't know. Valet? Did he just call him valet? I don't know. And who was the first host for the Miss America pageants? I don't know. I mean, that's such a... I've watched a few pageants in my lifetime, but would it have been like a game show host? Or a comedian? Or somebody like Dean Martin? Let's go Dean Martin. Like, would somebody like that have done that? I don't know. All right. Popeye's worst enemy was named Brutus for a while. What was his other name? Bluto. You guys? Can I get half a point for that? I said Pluto, and it was Bluto. I want half a point for that. How many people were shipwrecked on Gilligan's Island? 7. Who starred in Tightrope? Mike Connors. What nickname did Mr. Edwards give Laura on Little House on the Prairie? It was Half Pint. Name the show on which contestants could win rooms of furniture. Did you get this right? It was Dream House. What maybe the showcases on Price is Right were just, you could win appliances, or you could win, well, what did it say? A room full of furniture. I could swear that there were some where you could win a rug and a couch and a love seat and a chair and a coffee table and lamps. Like, right? Maybe not. All right. What psychologist gained fame by answering boxing questions on the $64,000 question? Joyce Brothers. What? Boxing questions? Like boxing questions? Okay. Name Jack Benny's valet. Rochester. And who was the first host for the Miss America pageants? Bert Parks. He was game show, right? All right, so I got half a point for Bluto. 7 half pint. Oh, and that was it. So I got 2.5 points on this card. I hope you did better. Let me get my phone so I can take a minute to thank my members. But thank you so much for watching this video, for liking, commenting. Please consider subscribing. I am hoping to reach a new group of viewers with these antique and vintage haul videos. I do have a Temu video coming up, but I have not received all the items yet. But once I do, we'll have some nostalgia of doing a Temu video. What'll that be like? Hopefully that'll happen before the end of the month, because I don't get very many views anymore, so I may not get my YouTube paycheck this month. So hopefully a Temu video at the end of the month might help put me over and get me a paycheck. All right, so thanking my members by name. It's spinning. Hold on. Okay. Nope. Wrong place. Right place. All right. I want to thank Julie, also known as Julie, and KT, and Favorites with Laura, and Darlene, and hey everybody, and Pam. Thank you so much for your support in that way. And also thank you to Julie. I believe she has done some support for me on my coffee page as well. So thank you. I really enjoy doing these videos. I haven't said it for a few videos, but I'm an introvert, and this allows me, this is like therapy, allows me to kind of share, or nobody in my family likes my hobby, you guys. So this helps me to share it with other like-minded people. So thank you so much for spending some of your day with me today. So wherever you are, whenever you are, I hope you're having a great day. And until we meet again, take care of yourself.